Welcome to the HVAC Business Growth Podcast. Is your business getting beaten by the competition or your profits dwindling? It's time to kickstart your HVAC business. Here's your host, Nick Balowski.
Hello everybody, welcome to the HVACBusinessGrowth.com podcast. I'm your host, Nick Balowski. This is the very first podcast for the year 2013. It's the 1st of January. And I think this time of year is a really good time to firstly review what you did in the previous year for 2012, and then also to set some goals and make some big plans for this upcoming year, which as we speak now is 2013. So let's get stuck into the show. So I'd like to really look at this show as a bit of a pep talk for 2013, the year coming up. So it's really aimed at people that aren't satisfied with the current state of business. And to put it simply, they're just frustrated. So what is frustration? Well, I think frustration is just basically the gap that there is between the expectation that the person has and their current position. So if you have a big gap between expectation and your current position, then that is frustration. So if you're frustrated in business or frustrated in any area of your life, that can flow into the rest of your life, whether it's financial side of things, or your health, or the relationships, or the business side of it. So it's really important that you try and put a lid on the frustration and look to improving your life. So the big question is, do you just simply drop your expectation, or do you just keep trying to spin on the hamster wheel and trying to improve that way? Well, the answer is that you actually do neither. So you don't worry about dropping your expectations. You keep your goals and expectations exactly the same, and you work on the things that give you great leverage and actually have an impact in improving your current and future situation. So one thing that I like to implement into any business and any stage of your life actually is a thing that's called the improvement cycle. So I actually got this from playing golf. So what we're going to do right now is go through the different phases of an improvement cycle. So firstly, what you need to do is actually make an assessment of where you're at. Figures here are a lot easier to work with than feelings because it's something that's actually tangible and it's easy to keep score of. So you can look at things like profit, which is quite a broad measurement. Then you can look at, in your business, things like sales volume, the number of customers, the average transaction size, margin, expenses, etc. Like there's probably dozens of things that you could look at to get an accurate assessment of where you're actually at. So you can actually build in as well your feeling of where you are with the business, but like I said before, that can be a little bit subjective, your feeling where you're at with your business. So basically just get the key business drivers here and use that when you're making your assessment of where you're at. So the next thing that you need to do is actually set some realistic goals. So you're in business, I'm already assuming that you actually have a long-term goal, whether it's actually to sell the business in 5 or 10 years' time or 20 years' time, or whether you've actually got a profit target or a lifestyle target or something like that. So ideally you've got a longer-term goal that's going from, say, 3 to 5 years onwards. So the trick with goal setting is actually to break it down into tiny bite-sized chunks. So what I mean by this is you might have a yearly goal that's broken down into a quarterly goal that you break down then into a monthly goal or a weekly goal, and even daily goals are fantastic. So I really like the saying, from little things, big things grow. What this really means is that if you work on the little things in your business or in your life, they'll add up. The small 1% things will add up to some really big things down the track. So really getting clear on the big goal and then breaking it down into the immediate action steps is really where it's at. So the third part of the improvement cycle is that you need to set the activities that will provide the greatest leverage for you to reach your goals. This is going to be a really silly comment, but if you want a different result, then do something different. So if you have a business idea, a strategy, or a tactic that actually feels uncomfortable to you, then it might just be the right thing for you to do. So humans are really, really predictable. They have a need for comfort, and usually this need for comfort is actually greater than the need for growth. If everybody in the world was actually really passionate about growing and moving forward in leaps and bounds, then there'd be that many millionaires. It wouldn't be funny. I think that example alone shows you just how comfortable people get and how set people get in their ways when they're running their life or doing their business. So the fourth part of the improvement cycle is you actually need to get feedback or accurate statistics or even data to measure your progress. So think of it like a scoreboard. You just need to have a scoreboard with some key business indicators on there that are letting you know exactly where you're at in your business or in your life. So on the scoreboard, things like profit are okay, but that's quite a big thing, and it actually doesn't break down enough into what is really the key driver in your business. So like I said before, break things down into tiny bite-sized chunks and actually look at the key drivers of your particular business. And obviously that's going to be different for every person that's going to be listening today. So what I suggest that you do is get a dashboard. So think of yourself like a pilot. A pilot will be obviously flying the plane, and they'll have a dashboard or a panel of instruments that are just giving them a lot of the key things that they need. Absolutely every piece of information about the plane isn't on the dashboard. They've just got the key drivers of things that are absolutely necessary into making them fly the plane correctly. So put your KPIs or the key drivers in your business in front of you regularly so you can always see where your business is at. So you can use things like computer software or a basic Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or even a whiteboard is fantastic for this. Just make sure that it's really, really visible, just like a scoreboard would be in a sports ground. And it's important that you're measuring your adherence to the process and the KPIs and not just the actual profit side of things alone. So I think the dashboard's a really good tip, and it's something that I have on my computer, and I also have a whiteboard version of it as well, just basically to keep me honest. The whiteboard actually is right above the computer screen that I can see right now, so it's right in front of me, front and center. So I think you can actually use this improvement cycle that we just went through for any area of your life, and the most important thing in this entire process is actually you are the machine. If you can actually improve yourself, then your business will actually improve along with it. So obviously the transition between years, like we're on the 1st of January right now, it's a great time of the year to actually rest and actually reconfigure and rework the wiring that's actually in your brain. So what I like to do at this time of year is actually read books, and I think you'll find if you spoke to a lot of wealthy business people, they are really avid and hungry readers of books. So I've got a few book ideas for you. The first one is Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It's quite an old book, actually, and it really goes into the way that your brain actually works and why you're actually thinking certain ways, and actually gives you some skills and activities to improve the way that you think. So it's a really good book. Normally you can pick it up for around $20 on Amazon, or you might actually be able to find it in your local bookshop if you like to look after the local business. The other book that I highly recommend is Think and Grow Rich. So that's by Napoleon Hill, and what Napoleon Hill actually did, he was commissioned to actually go and interview a lot of wealthy people back in the early 1900s, I think it was, and just actually find out why they were so successful. So they were really in-depth interviews, and what he actually did was compile a lot of this information into a bit of a success principles type of book. So it's quite a difficult read, but I think everybody, if they read it, they're going to find some really, really key pieces of information that they can see that can take their life forward and take their business forward. So there's just two good books that I like to read. And like any good book, it's one of those things, don't actually read it once. The more times you go ahead and read these types of books, you'll pick up something new in these books every single time that you read them. So it's one of those things, you might actually have a handful of books that you like to read at this type of year all the time, and it just helps to settle you down and actually get your brain ticking over and thinking about what you're going to do in the upcoming year. So books like this, particularly ones that are of the self-help type of thing, and not so much focused on business or marketing, they help to really prime your mind and help you to think more effectively. So the question I have for you is, do you actually have any books that you'd like to share? So if you do, just head over to the website, hvacbusinessgrowth.com. You might actually be there now. And just leave a comment in the show notes with any books that you actually recommend, and maybe even just a quick introduction as to what they're about and what you actually learned from the book. That'll be a great help to other business owners, I think. So now it's time for the hvacbusinessgrowth.com tip of the week. So this week's tip of the week is to eliminate anything that isn't productive in your life or business. So this could mean cleaning out the office. It could mean stop running unprofitable ad campaigns. It could mean cleaning up the hard drive on the computer, or getting rid of old equipment in your business that is just getting in the way and taking up valuable time, energy, and resources. So if you can actually do this and eliminate anything that isn't productive, this is going to enable you to focus on the things that are really important in your business, which is the type of things that we spoke about earlier. They're the key distinctions, the key drivers that actually make your business successful, and they make your life work that little bit better as well. So that's all we've got time for today on the hvacbusinessgrowth.com podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or any comments about the 2013 Pep Talk, head over to iTunes, leave a comment, or actually head over to the website, hvacbusinessgrowth.com, if you're not already there, and leave a comment in the show notes, and I can clear up any questions for you and answer them either on the website or in a future podcast episode. Thanks for listening.
This has been another edition of the HVAC Business Growth Podcast. For more marketing tips and strategies, go to the website, hvacbusinessgrowth.com.